about basic introduction of IMC, and we'll be resuming with the session right after that.
Quality, innovation, respect, and integrity. Take steps to invest in your career. International Management Consultancy is the leading global marketplace for learning and instruction, helping professionals across the industry to develop skills and expertise to get recognition and growth in the corporate world. We are one of the leading training providers and gradually spreading our training facility amongst candidates based at different geographies, such as Canada, United States of America, United Arab Emirates, Saudi, Kuwait, Qatar, Oman, Lebanon, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Vietnam, Philippines, India, and many other countries across the globe. IMC is accredited by the highest industry standards. We put in the efforts and we work to prove our commitment to offering our clients only the best and of superior quality. With a uniquely immersive curriculum that combines live instruction from the leading experts, peer-to-peer collaboration, on-demand lessons, unlimited online trainings, and 24/7 learning support. IMC helps over thousands of professionals learn their skills needed to advance their careers and reach their full potential. In line with our commitment to excellence, IMC offers a number of training courses preparing professionals for certifications and exams given by the international associations in areas like management, finance and accounting, human resources, sales and marketing, quality administration, and as well as project management. By fully attending these courses and successfully completing the requirements of the certifying body, participants will receive a special certificate which recognizes their dedication and commitment, and in many cases, help them earn valuable continuing education credit. IMC Consultants has been working together with their clients from various industries in aligning their people and processes to compete through high speed, excellent quality, and low cost. We strongly believe that the key to our success is our total commitment in delivering value to our clients based on integrity, honesty, and openness. If you are uncertain about which roles or skills are best for you, hurry! Come visit our website or talk to our expert education consultants today. Take a step, invest in your future, empower your knowledge, and be one of our success stories. International Management Consultancy, excellence is what we deliver.
All right, so thanks a lot for hearing that out. There's few things that I really want to talk about this video, which is definitely important and relevant to us, given that Six Sigma certification is applicable globally. The accreditations that we have, I'm sure we were able to see that. It's more from the reliability perspective. So I'm sure you're already aware of that fact that we have accreditation with IESSC, and apart from that, it's Council for Six Sigma certification, which is based out of USA, International Quality Federation, which is again based out of USA. And then there is a CPD accreditation, which is UK-based accreditation body. So these global certifications, we've been able to ensure that we maintain the standard. So on those lines, we had to kind of ensure that the syllabus that we go through is more from a project-based model to ensure that the training that we deliver is sufficient enough for somebody to go ahead and apply this in real world situations. So it's not just having one more training and getting it added on your profile that you're Six Sigma certified, but see, honestly, we end up taking a lot of trainings which we may not ever end up using in a real world professional career. So the training curriculum, the way we will be going through this program is more from a project-based model. So we have we will have a fair bit of understanding how to start a project and how to end a project. So the experiential learning, it's more of a hands-on stuff. We will be doing things to understand it. So you may not see any presentation in this case. So there will be no PPTs because it's Six Sigma role is more of a practitioner's role. So you got to do it, and that's the right way of learning it. So we'll try to kind of make sure that we go through the entire model in the same way, because generally, if we speak with various stakeholders globally, the biggest challenge that most of the stakeholders talk about is that people have got knowledge of different kind of tools, but when to use which tool is the missing link. The transition of theory to the practical aspect is the biggest missing link. So we will not have that challenge, at least in our case, because we will be taking it in a mode that we know exactly when what tool has to be used and what could have been used as an alternative option at every given stage. So that's number one. Apart from this, we will be going ahead and using extensive Minitab. So there are a lot of statistical tests that we need to carry out. We'll learn about different statistic stuff. This Excel can be a great tool, but when it comes to black belt portion, Excel will be insufficient. So whatever we could do with Excel, definitely we'll be trying to explore that on Excel. But parallelly, we will be working on Minitab throughout. So I'll be sharing these files with you, like with all the links and all. I will definitely want to talk about this. So this Minitab needs to be downloaded technically in most likely about the 4th or 5th session. So I would request you, please, if in case you haven't downloaded and you don't have a copy of Minitab, please don't install it right now. You will have this file. I'll share the file with you that I'll be working on. But do not install Minitab because it comes with the 30 days of trial version, and the trial version is a full version. So you can only install it on a laptop or a desktop, and you can only install it once. So I would say, like, at least let's save the time, and when the right time comes and when we get into the data part of it, that's the right time. We will like I would definitely suggest you to kind of install Minitab so you can practice as well at your end. So please do not install Minitab as of now. That will be my recommendation. Apart from this, since we are going through this Minitab part of it, like technically when we work on a project, it will like when we see a normal typical project, just to kind of give a quick snapshot of that. A typical project, well, it could be a different challenge, different situation, but a project would somehow look like this, which will have lot of aspects covered from statistics standpoint, from quality management standpoint, from project management standpoint. And this is just like a simulation one. So typically we will be covering up all this, how a project actually needs to go through. So the course module that we'll be working on is going to follow the similar path. And yes, in this case, yes, these are all Minitab outputs. So we will be primarily using Minitab as a first choice. And given Excel will be a parallel option, wherever it can be done on Excel, will also work out the solutions on Excel. So this is all, like, just wanted you to have a quick glance about. So these all outputs that you seeing are done on Minitab. Globally, when it comes to Lean Six Sigma, across the globe, the first choice of all the corporates is Minitab, because it's you start working on Minitab, you'll not touch any other stuff, because it's like the second best, I would say, is SPSS, and SPSS is like 2 poles apart when you talk and compare with Minitab. It's highly advanced. So all these analysis will be so we would not be required. So generally, like, honestly, I do a lot of trainings for many corporates for people who are Six Sigma green belt, Six Sigma black belt, but haven't done Minitab as a part of their course, because it's a tool, it's a separate tool. But the right way to be industry ready is more about having that knowledge. So while we're learning the material, the course part of it. So while we do this, you'll not be required to go for any other specialized training for Minitab, because that's the need of the corporate world. But yeah, we will end up practicing everything, whatever is required on Minitab during the training. So I will definitely, as I said, come back and tell you like when is the right time to install Minitab. It will prepare reports, graph, charts, everything, makes job easier, and that too accurate. So technically, that's what we have. Uh, Apart from this, this is a couple of links that I really want to share. Please, uh, if you can save this link. This link is for the Google Drive where I will be sharing a lot of material with you. The notes that I prepare, like, so I will be creating this day-wise folder. Right now it's empty because we just started. So whatever we will prepare, whatever templates, documents we will work on, I will be placing in day-wise folder. So whatever we work on today, I'll put this in the day-wise folder in day one. Similarly, we'll create other day folders. Apart from this, there are certain project files which we will be working on so that we have a practical understanding. So these are some sample project files we will see. Technically, if you have understanding of working on these three different types of data, there are different types of data, we'll learn about it. So when we talk about these different types of data, if we understand how to analyze these, technically we can analyze anything in the world because you can't have any more different type of data. So they're all possible type of data has been covered here. So we'll cover this up as we move forward. Apart from this, yes, the Minitab guide is it tells you what to use, how to use Minitab. So that's there. And a sample Six Sigma project is also here. So technically, this material is already there, but going forward, we'll continue to create day-wise folder and place the material in day-wise folder. So kindly save this link. This is going to remain same. And once you have this link, technically, you'll have my files, all the files that I'm working on. So this Excel file, I'll be using Excel for notes because there will be a lot of calculations and Excel has those statistical features. So we will use them. The notes, the session is getting recorded. So the session recording is in a different folder. Recordings will be shared, like generally it takes about a day to share the recordings because it's a heavy file. So that's a separate folder which IMC support team will be sharing for recordings in this folder. That's a different one. So this is, so I would highly request, even if you have the first link, that's more than enough. Why? Because you will have this file which has both the links in it. So and then the Minitab option to download. So all, whenever you're ready, please just like whenever the time comes in, please go ahead and follow this link and just fill in this small piece of information and you get a link from Minitab to download the trial version. So that's pretty much the basic prerequisite of working on the Minitab part. Like anything that you have as a specific question, just wanted to make sure that at least the basic whereabouts are clear. Do you have any specific questions for me before we proceed? I would like to definitely give my quick introduction about myself, but in case there's something which you have as a question, we can discuss that.
Yeah, may I ask you to send me the links via email?
Yes, I can have somebody like from the
from the
team.
IMC.
Yeah, sure. They will have it done. So technically, so just a quick, very brief introduction without taking too much of time. Like I have been associated with the service industry, and for good 14 years, I was engaged with the corporate sector. But yes, since 2014, I have only been doing Lean Six Sigma training and consulting. So that's the only area where I specialize. I am like, yes, I'm a project management practitioner. So like I do use my PMP knowledge for driving my Six Sigma projects. So most of my work happens to be in Middle East and specifically it's Dubai, Qatar, Saudi. That's the most of my work. Technically, it happens there itself. I have been like I generally spend a lot of time in Qatar because of my trainings. When it used to happen, like physical training, because of pandemic, things have gone and has moved to online version. But yes, generally, most of my work like physical trainings happen in Qatar itself. Apart from that, yes, I do have like some consulting work in Europe, some in Asia, middle, like technically India, Bangladesh, and all. So that's been more of my like the work that I do in general. But yes, I would definitely want to understand your job role so that it helps me understand your need in the of this particular training program, so I can keep that in mind as we move forward.
Sure. Thank you very much As a beginning, thank you very much for the introduction.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy to start with you. I've seen videos on the link that you have you've given some trainings to the staff, to some trainers, and I was really interested to join you in this training. About me, my name is, of course, you know, my name is Rami. I'm working currently in HSBC Bank.
Okay.
As a branch in a branch operations.
Okay.
I have different experiences in project management where I handled some projects with relation to banks, system upgrades and all that. I'm not from IT background, but system upgrades with relation to customer relationship.
Great.
Yeah, so I wanted to go see. I'm looking for something related to quality assurance.
Okay.
I'm planning to build a knowledge on that because I'm expecting a career transformation in the position, moving to another position. That was a discussion. So I was looking for something. When I searched, I found that Six Sigma is the best option to go for. To get in deep into quality assurance, project management, and all that, where we supervise other people work and we tell them how to do it. The right way, and where we see what are the mistakes and what's the reason for the deviations and all that. So during the search, I reached to that conclusion that Six Sigma is the good option. So I wanted to go for it.
Great. And trust, this is like even within the current job role, when you talk about the banking operations that you have managing, people have globally gone ahead and implemented Six Sigma to execute various operational challenges. And then honestly, when you talk about Six Sigma, it is industry independent. It's department independent. So like I come from a service industry background. Nowadays, like if I talk about consulting, like I do consulting with almost everything, because we just got to have the clear understanding of what is Six Sigma, because whichever industry you may work with, I got like data has no language. When we talk about data, whether it's a banking data, whether it's a textile, whether it's construction, whether it's oil and natural gas, honestly doesn't matter, because when we use analysis, it's like, so when I just for a matter of fact, if I pick up any of these project files, well, these are numbers. Technically, whether this number is coming from an HR, it's from operations, it's from quality, doesn't matter. Numbers are numbers. So my analysis, the statistics is not going to differentiate whether this data is coming from which industry, because that's what it makes it universal. When we generally speak with stakeholders globally, Six Sigma happens to become a primary choice for them because of very simple reason. You implement Six Sigma once, and then you start reaping the benefits of implementing Six Sigma in multiple departments. And it's irrespective of what department you're talking about, you can always work with that. Should you have data? Yes, you have an answer. So bottom line, we will get into the data. It's going to be a really good journey. I'm sure we'll have value add, and the reason why you've taken this course, Lean Six Sigma definitely answers that, and that's what is the need of the hour. And specifically, if I talk about the Middle East, yes, I spent a lot of time, as I said, in Qatar, like because of this trainings and speaking, like consulting with a lot of corporates. Technically, this is where I know, for like, at least this is for sure, like the demand has increased a lot. So on that note, we can definitely get started. Just wanted to quickly check, like, do you have a prior background or any understanding of what is Lean Six Sigma? Any fair bit of idea?
I've seen some videos actually from different trainers, and on YouTube.
Okay.
It's just about. I know that there are stages for the Lean Six Sigma. There are levels.
Right.
And it really talks about it ensure that the companies find out what is the deviation reason, how Six Sigma started with Motorola a long time before, the history of that, and then so many companies became and using Six Sigma. Perfect. I mean, a general historical background. Yeah.
Great. Perfect. So we're just trying today's first session is more around the basics. But yes, tomorrow onwards, we'll switch to a different section altogether. But whatever we're going to cover up today, yes, that's important from examination standpoint. Yes. And in real world scenario, when we go for a job interview, generally the first line of interview, the first liners, like the people who will be conducting the first round of interview, they are not technical. They are not technically, and they are not Six Sigma professionals. Your interviews with the Six Sigma Master Black Belt will generally happen in the second or third round. So first, like, we have to get past the gatekeeper, which would be generally the HR people. Technically, these HR people have a handout which tells them, like, this is the question, this is the answer. So they have a checklist of questions, and that's what they would generally try to ask and get an answer. So these are the basic simple questions which what we're going to talk about today is going to cover up and ensure that yes, these portions can be a part of the examination questions, and could be like a generally asked in the job interview, generally in the initial level of interview, but not in the later version, because then they will be more statistics oriented, the more technical rounds. But all in all, journal questions would be, what is the definition of lean, or what is the definition of Six Sigma? We'll start with the basic words, like just to get the concept clear. When we talk about lean,
I have a
when,
question.
yes, yes,
Do,
yes,
do I
yes,
need,
yeah.
sorry, do I need to keep notes, or?
No, I'll be sharing. I'll be sharing detailed notes, like so the entire file that we're working on will be placed in the shared drive. So you'll have it.
Okay,
So
wonderful.
yeah, should you have any question, please just like let me know, so we can definitely discuss that. So I'll
Sure.
keep checking with you, by the way. Yeah. So lean is generally, like, I'm going to write down the definition here. Generally, it's identification and elimination of waste from the process to increase efficiency without compromising on quality of product or service. Whichever industry, whatever we are doing, it doesn't matter. But the core purpose is to eliminate the waste. And when we implement lean, the first job is to identify, look at your process and identify the waste in it. So first rule is to identify. When you identify, you go about eliminating the waste. Well, when you eliminate the waste, your process efficiency gets better. But one criteria is always there. You want to implement lean, you want to be more efficient, but not at the cost of quality. You cannot compromise that. We'll make it pretty simple just to understand this. Say if I'm manufacturing a product, or I'm delivering a service to the customer, there are always multiple steps involved, multiple departments involved. Say I have, hypothetically, there is a department A. The output of the department A goes to department B as input. Now department B starts doing some work on it, and the output of B goes to C. Similarly, the output of C goes to D. And similarly, we have the last, say, 5-step process. So at the end of step E, my product is manufactured or my service is delivered to the customer. It takes me like 15 days time to complete this entire process from A to E. That's the total time what it takes generally. Now, what lean tells us that use your lean knowledge, and based on the lean knowledge, try to identify what all activities in these departments can be called as a waste. So we will discuss about the way you identify the waste. So all in all, say by the knowledge of lean tools, I figured out that this step B can be called as a waste. And similarly, say this process step, when you looked at all other process steps, were important, vital, and they cannot be called as waste as well. But the only step B I could figure out based on the lean knowledge, I could call this as a waste. So what it does say is that since you have done the identification, please remove the unwanted steps. Now my process looks like this: A, C, D, and E. Unwanted step has been simply taken out of the equation. That's as simple as that. Lean is not complicated. Now, since you're not doing that extra step, well, you are able to deliver the product or service to the customer faster. Is the customer happy? Definitely yes. It was taking 15 days time. Now you're able to do it in 10 days. Customer is definitely very happy. Are you happy as a company? Definitely. I'm saving the time, money, effort, resources that were getting wasted in step number B. And while I reduced my time, I'm profitable, my customer is happy. And while I do it, yes, I have not compromised on the quality. Bottom line, this is pretty simple as that. When we talk about lean, lean is all about, so when we talk about lean, lean is all about speed of the process. It's all about time. The simple question that we're answering here is, can you deliver the product or service faster? Simple as that. So all time related initiatives that we might want to do, like we want to serve the customer faster, in order to delight the customer, thrill the customer, they all are lean related initiatives. So when we are talking about time, it's always about lean. And trust, I can't tell you anything and teach you anything about lean because you already know lean. You have been practicing lean in day-to-day life, when you, since in your personal lives, in your official, in your professional life, you have been practicing lean. It's something which we all know. It's just that, yes, we may not have been doing it with a purpose. We may not have been doing it in a structured way. We may not have been quantifying it. And it's an old proverb. When you start measuring something, you start seeing an improvement. What you will be learning is, yes, different ways to identify lean waste, though a structured way of implementing lean, so you can see the benefit, you can measure the benefit, you can quantify the benefit, and you can tell your management that this is what we need to do. Well, when we implemented lean, this is before the implementation, this is after the implementation, you will have quantifiable benefits that can be presented to the management. But it's some simple as that. We all know lean. There's nothing different in this. This is very simple, commonsensical. Having said that, whenever we talk about lean, the only tool that we use in lean is observation. Observation is the key element which is used. It's just about monitoring and observing your process in and out. That's what is the key tool. And what do you fix in lean is what you see is what you fix in lean. So you apply, you go to your process, you see your process with a vision of lean, you with a knowledge of lean tools and techniques to which will help you identify the waste. But it's only going to help you to find visible waste. Whatever is visible to you, you see your process and you understand your process from end to end, and then you try to figure out which steps can be called as waste. So it's only what you can see is what you fix with lean. It will help you stabilize the process. It's very, very simple, but trust, it's very difficult to achieve lean in real world practices. The only reason why it's difficult to implement lean because it's simple. It will always take the back seat, because when it comes to comparison between lean and Six Sigma will always get the maximum credit. The attention we'll get is always from Six Sigma because it's fancy. It has got graph, charts, analysis. It's always fascinating. But the answer to the big questions always lies in lean. So bottom line, you got to stabilize your process. This is simple, but yes, the foundation of any process improvement you want to do is going to be based on lean. So when we talk about, sometimes people do talk about, we are doing a lean project. Sorry, lean cannot be called as a project, because by the definition of project management, when we say PMP certification, when we do, the definition of project is that it's temporary. You start and you end a project. Lean will start, but will never end. You can never say that I am going to finish lean. No, lean will never get over. Six Sigma is hardcore project. You start a Six Sigma project and you end a Six Sigma project. Lean, you never end. Lean is operations job. You do it every day. You may not like it, but you still got to do it every day. That's what is lean. Lean is a basic, commonsensical, very, very simple stuff, but it's something which is non-negotiable. It's hygiene. Companies where we have excellent lean culture, their Six Sigma will show you the true effect. The effect of Six Sigma will see when the companies have good lean culture. But if the company has a weak lean culture, Six Sigma will struggle there. It's a complementary stuff. They're two different things. Lean is a separate process improvement method. Six Sigma is a separate process improvement method, but they always complement each other. Six Sigma will struggle in absence of lean, and lean will definitely struggle when you don't have Six Sigma. They are like complementary to each other. So people were either lean experts or people were Six Sigma experts. But over a period of time, people realized that using them separately is not making us like we are getting benefit, but it's not what we expect. When people started using lean Six Sigma together, that's when they saw the true effect of lean Six Sigma. So nowadays, people just don't learn lean. People just don't learn Six Sigma. People learn lean Six Sigma, and we will be going with lean Six Sigma as a whole. So just to give you a quick idea about, like, so we haven't discussed anything about lean, how to identify waste, but just to make sure that we're comfortable with the topic, with the subject, I'll just play a quick short video. And let's understand, do we have an idea about what is waste? So just a quick short video, and let's have a quick look at it. This is what you do with lean. Every project, every process, doesn't matter which process we're talking about, we track every single activity, and we do also track how much time we are spending in that activity. So every single activity will be tracked and the time will be measured. Observation is what we're doing.
Steve, did you want that toast plain?
No. Hey, about the,
I got it.
well, about the,
I got it.
really, about the butter.
No, I got it.
Rach, no, really, about the butter.
Too bad.
Okay, here you go.
Rach, one piece would have been plenty. I really wanted jelly on it.
All right, so that's a quick short video, but technically this is, it's a process is self-explanatory, that when we're looking at a process, every single activity was being tracked. And we also track time when you're implementing lean, it's like how long did you spend? And there were a lot of things which could have been done better. Even we haven't discussed anything. No tools and techniques have been discussed about lean, but we already know lot many things could have been done better. And like starting from the beginning till the end, this process was a chaos. It was unplanned. She had no idea about the customer requirements. Everything was like things, a lot of things could have been done parallelly, could have been done managed in a better way. But unfortunately, there was lack of poor planning, like customer requirements were not known, things were absolutely bad. But basic common sense is there that we always understand lean part of it. I like, I'm sure if you must have observed something, can you please share?
Before that, so I just want to confirm something. A lean is a process, right?
Lean is the method of improving a process. It's a methodology like Six Sigma. So it's a technique that we'll be applying on a process to say this is basically a fat process has turned into a lean process now. A lean process is about having no wastages. Technically, that's the objective. A process which is overall has activities which are good activities and some activities are bad. We haven't categorized, we have not realized it, but now with the knowledge of lean techniques, lean tools and techniques we have, we will try to figure out which all activities can be called as a waste as per lean. So it's a methodology, it's a technique which we'll be applying in any process to figure out based on the definition of lean, which all activities can be qualified as a waste. And then we start removing those waste in the process. So by removal of the waste, well, technically, what do you get here? Your process efficiency is optimized in terms of cost, time, efforts, resources, raw material, anything that you were spending in that process step, everything will be saved. So this is pretty simple. Lean is commonsensical. Everyone understands. All you got to be doing is now, when you have the knowledge of categorization, identification of waste, it will be a lot more easier. Since you would have, in fact, there's you would have done a lot of initiatives already in your professional career. You would have done a lot of things to improve your existing processes, and you have implemented lean. So yes, it's a time when you go back and look into when we understand the overall process of lean, it will be the time to go back and check how many lean initiatives you have already taken. And yes, you have taken. I'm sure everyone in a professional career, in a management kind of role, has done lean initiatives. So it's all about going back and labeling it as a lean project. You've done it. Like Kaizen, I'm sure you must have heard about Kaizen. And it's again something I'm sure 110% you have done so many Kaizen. It's just that now we go back in history and then we try to kind of update our profile saying that, yes, we did these many Kaizen projects. You have done it. It's just now understanding what do you mean by lean, what do you mean by Kaizen, and going back and kind of start like taking the credit of the work that you've already done. But yes, it's just about having the knowledge of it, of how you categorize lean and Kaizen. Technically will be taught. It's a part of lean itself, but we will get into the details. But it's a simple stuff and we all understand. And it's simple because what we see is what you fix with lean. In general, we'll always be implementing lean. That's a hygiene parameter. But when we talk about Six Sigma, it is a different ballgame, absolutely different, very fancy, like data oriented. And that's the new slogan. When we say Six Sigma is the flavor. Technically, people have been talking about data is the new oil. That's what it is. When we talk about like you install one application in your mobile phone, the application wants to get permission for your contacts, your messages, and every possible thing. Why? Because people have realized that people who have control over data, people who will understand data better, will be sort of ruling the world going forward. That things will be in their control. You like Google has so much of data, Google has so much of information. Well, that's what they're leading it. Probably they have got, like if you say they've created a monopoly, yes, they won't be wrong to say, well, we're talking about nowadays artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all those things, because data has its own language. And when data speaks for itself, you don't have to justify anything. Data has a self-explanatory, and that's what Six Sigma works on. Absolutely data oriented. So when we talk about Six Sigma, technically this is honestly very different from what we've talked about in the lean part of it. This is statistical approach to reduce variation. When I say variation, I'll write down defects here in the process to increase effectiveness. Fancy term, effectiveness, but let's understand this part of it. Unless and until your definition has this word variation, it is going to be incomplete. So you may say every possible thing about definition of Six Sigma. You may try to reword the definition of Six Sigma, but the definition of Six Sigma is incomplete unless and until we mention the word variation. It's a core fundamental of Six Sigma is variation. We'll get down to that. First, let's get this idea clear that it's lean works on improving efficiency. Six Sigma improves effectiveness. What is effectiveness? A fancy term. Effectiveness is nothing other than quality percentage, your quality of the process. So technically what we're saying that Six Sigma improves the quality of the process. Yes. How? By reducing the defects. When we say variation, we'll talk about the variation part, but it's a common sense. When your defect reduces, your quality gets better. The question is, how do you reduce the defect? By data, looking at data. So when we talk about Six Sigma, this is the approach of Six Sigma. Technically, as we said, what you see is what you fix with lean. But in case of Six Sigma, what my approach would be, what you experience but can't explain why is what you fix with Six Sigma. So you may be experiencing some challenges in your day-to-day work. I have tried all my knowledge, all my skills. We have discussed with subject matter experts. We have been able to solve the problem, but the problem resurfaces again after 2-3 months. We again try to sit through a meeting and brainstorming sessions. We get the solution, but again, the problem resurfaces. So what it tells me that there's something missing in my approach. We have exhausted all possible sources. We have used all our knowledge, all our experience, and somehow the problem keeps coming back. That means I am still not able to understand. I'm still not able to see the real root cause. Where is the root cause lying? Because since the root cause is still there, the problem keeps reoccurring. So what it tells me that it's not something which is easily available. It's not easily visible to me. So what you generally fix, what you visible to you, know the problem, you go about fixing it. This one, the problem that probably we're dealing with, the problem, the real root cause is not superficial. It's not easily visible to us. We have to get deeper into data to find what is actually causing it, because it's not visual. So this is where lean will fail, where lean will struggle. That's when Six Sigma journey will start. Because here, lean could get your process to stabilize, but when you want to take it to an absolutely new level, that's when Six Sigma will get. To be a market leader, yes, you need a Six Sigma. Well, lean will help you stabilize the process, get your process on track. But yes, from there on, when you take a leap, like multiple folds improvement, then you need Six Sigma, because this is where this could give you something like 99% kind of quality. But this is going to take it to a much better level than what we could have ever imagined. Six Sigma is definitely a game changer, but it will come in after this is not my first choice. This is always my last choice. So this is exactly about, we may have tried to solve a problem, but it keeps coming back. It's a chronic problem. That's when you need Six Sigma. Six Sigma approach where we've tried, tested, and failed everything. Then we need Six Sigma. I know I'm experiencing a problem, but I cannot tell you why, because I have already exhausted all my sources and I have no idea how to deal with this problem. Then we go about applying Six Sigma. So this is not going to be my first choice. It'll always be my last choice. I'll always use Six Sigma as my last choice, not my first option. Having said that, I can use a lot of tools and techniques and bits and pieces. We never do a Six Sigma project in all the cases. Six Sigma has lots of tools and techniques, and I can use them in bits and pieces. That will solve, in the end, what my management is looking for: quality assurance. Things should be stable, controlled, like you should be able to streamline, make sure the process is reliable. Bottom line, you're looking at all that. So if I can solve that and I attain that position just by using some of the tools and techniques, well, pretty much we always do that. When things needs to be taken in as a project, then you go about doing a complete project. But all in all, we generally try to solve with bits and pieces always. We do not use a full project because of doing a complete project will require a lot of work to be done. So we, in the end, we just got to solve a business problem. So if I can solve with simple tools, why get into more complex stuff? Bottom line, we never use this as like a complete project all the time. Like for example, there's a client of mine which has given me an order to manufacture, say, a whiteboard marker. So we use a whiteboard marker to write, and the client gave me an order to make 5 inches long marker, let's say 5.5 inches long marker. Now, my team started manufacturing, and this is what they could come up with: the different types of markers that we have manufactured. This is the length of the markers we have got. And if I look at these length of the marker, let me make some more 5.5 here, just random numbers. Okay, is this 5.5? No, that's a variation from 5.5. It's more than 5.5, but that's a defect in the eyes of customer. Is this 5.5? No, that's again a variation from 5.5. It's more than 5.5. It'll be defect. This is again a variation, again a defect. This is variation on the lesser side. It's less than 5.5, but again a defect. Customer wanted 5.5, you should have given 5.5. This all is good. This is a variation on the higher side, variation on the higher side, variation on lower side, variation on lower side. All these are variations. Whether it's more than 5.5 or less than 5.5, it is a variation, and variation is what customer will treat as a defect. What Six Sigma will do, technically, I might have tried to solve this problem by all possible knowledge that I have. I might have consulted different experts, but somehow the problem is not going away. And I still have these markers which has more or less than the target. I will collect data, I'll analyze data, and I will be able to figure out why this variation is happening. When you get to know why it is happening, you always have a solution. Every industry has expert. You give them the problem, they will have your solution for you. But my problem here is that I don't know what to work on, what to fix. It's like somebody has got a, like say, generally people get ill and somebody has a fever. Now, fever is a symptom that we are able to see. The fever, if I give a medicine for symptom, then it's just going to give me a temporary relief. My body temperature will go down. That's it. But the infection is still there. But to cure that infection, I need to know what is causing that infection. Is it a bacterial infection? Is it a viral infection? It is a fungal infection, and so many other things. And every infection has a different types of medicine, because you might want to give a antibacterial medicine for bacterial infection, antifungal, antiviral. So medicine will change depending on what is the type of infection. So when you collect the data, you are able to analyze it, and you are able to figure out what is the actual problem. When you get to know the actual problem, then pretty much there's no looking back. There's no problem. Why? Because you always have expert. Give them the problem, you always have a solution. Every industry expert has that capability. But my biggest challenge is that I don't know what to solve, because I may have a lot of ideas that this could be a problem, that could be a problem, but they are mere speculation. But that's not a validated result. So we would always use this as the last choice. So Six Sigma will help me get out of the zone of uncertainty, whether it is, so we will not be saying, well, I think. No, there's nothing called scope for I believe, I think. No, I know this is impacting. This is what is causing the problem. This is not causing the problem. So we'll have absolute clarity as to what is causing the problem. So when we talk about Six Sigma globally, when we talk about the performance level of Six Sigma, generally, if I say my company is working at Six Sigma level, in a bank, say we're trying to improvise the waiting time for the customers, like when they want to withdraw cash from the bank, or probably get some account open, credit cards, they want to take some credit cards or loans from the bank. Technically, the process we would like to optimize the process from an operations perspective. So we would like to do some project, and technically when we are doing a project, when we are measuring the defect rates, every time whenever I was not able to adhere to the target that we have set, I will say I have created a defect. But if my process is working at 6 sigma level, what is the defect level? What is the quality percentage if a process is working at 6 sigma? So these numbers we have to memorize by heart, because generally, as I said, in the first round of interviews, or probably in the exam part, they generally ask you this simple, straightforward question, like at 6 sigma level, if my process is working at 6 sigma level, what will be my quality percentage? And these numbers we should memorize by heart, at least because these are specific to Six Sigma. Your quality percentage of your process will be at 99.99966%. We'll know how to calculate all these things, but still you will know the formulas, how to do that calculation. It's very simple, very, very simple. Six Sigma is very simple. It's easy, but it's different. So in the end, even if you know the formula, but still, since they are specific to Six Sigma, we still have to memorize certain numbers. In case
So
of
this
defect rate, yeah.
So this number, the 99 point, is the quality of the after using the 6 sigma.
Yes.
This is
yes.
a fixed number.
Yes, yes, yes. If my process, any process for that matter, if it works at 6 sigma level, this will be the quality percentage of the process. This is the quality. Yeah. And in the same way, it is measured in defect rate also. What will be my defect rate at 6 sigma? If my process is working at 6 sigma level, what will be my defect rate? And in 6 sigma level, if you measure defect rate, everything is measured on a million scale. So generally the term that we have to keep in mind is just across the industry, you'll see this term 3.4 DPMO or 3.4 ppm. What do you mean by this? 3.4 defects per million opportunity, and 3.4 ppm means 3.4 parts per million. Now we have to definitely memorize this. Let's understand what do you mean by 3.4 DPM or 3.4 ppm. This two things are same, but different ways of expressing the same thing. What it means, if I was manufacturing this marker, I would have maximum probability of making a defective marker is just 3.4 in 1 million markers manufactured. If I manufacture 1 million marker, the maximum probability of having a defective marker is just 3.4 in 1 million. This is almost like a zero defect. In 1 million, 3.4, it doesn't stand a chance. And that's why globally people are switching to a Six Sigma performance, because this is almost a zero defect process if you are working at Six Sigma process. So either you say
Sorry, but these rates and the defect rate and the quality rate, how did they reach to that?
Yeah, so we will be able to do the calculation, but so we will do all those calculations. Yeah, but so we still have to kind of memorize these numbers because they're only specific to Six Sigma. So generally, because we say we have done Six Sigma course, people will generally ask this as a first question. Okay, what's your quality percentage at Six Sigma level? What's your defect rate at Six Sigma level? So specific numbers important from exam and the interview standpoint. Everything we will know exactly the tips, how to calculate simple stuff. And for that matter, any sigma level that comes to your mind, you can calculate that very easily.
Okay, now, okay, can I ask you for a favor? Whatever please. That usually comes in the exam, can you just highlight it in a different color so I can focus on it?
Sure, I'll keep on so before I share the file, I'll just have a quick glance of the file before I upload this in the Google Drive. I'll share it differently, so I'll continue to work with that share.
So now, we say 3.4 is defects per million opportunity, and the 3.4 ppm is 3.4 parts per million.
Defective, yeah, parts per million. Like the performance level is at Six Sigma would be, and they are used in different scenarios. So we'll talk about this is when we measure defects. We will be when we start getting into the calculation of sigma levels. We'll be dealing with when do I use the terminology of 3.4 DPMO or when do I use the terminology of 3.4 ppm. Bottom line, both represent sigma level, but which version will be used as communication? Like will we say my process is working at 3.4 DPMO or my process has 3.4 ppm will depend whether we are measuring defects or we measuring defectives. So we'll learn about this because when we calculate sigma level, we'll be differentiating between defects and defective in detail, but both represent the level of sigma level. So at Six Sigma level, this will be the defect rate. Whether we are talking about opportunity or defect, like parts, we'll understand that. So
the 3.4 parts, what does it mean, parts per million?
Yeah, so with the number of parts, like if I was talking about the whiteboard marker that I'm manufacturing, like if I manufacture 1 million marker, the maximum probability of making a defective marker is 3.4. Maximum probability of making a one defect, like a, so if I manufacture 1 million marker, at Six Sigma level, you will still have about 3.4 defective markers out of 1 million. So this is like, if I manufacture 1 million markers, I will have, this is 560. So if I manufacture 1 million such markers, I will only have about 3.4 defective markers in 1 million. This is almost like a zero.
So sorry, what's the difference between DPMO and PPM?
Okay, so when we talk about opportunity, like this is used in an industry, like, so PPM part of it is used when the company is like, this is completely dependent on what kind of clients you're working with, what kind of industry you're working with. Because if we are using like when the company is very brand conscious, they generally work with a PPM kind of concept. What is a PPM kind of concept? Let's kind of quickly understand this. Okay, let's say we have a loan application which needs to be processed. Loan application. So this is the fields that we have to fill in is name of the person, the address of the person, the income of the person per month income, the phone number, and the email address of the person, and say
Age
of the person. Say, and out of this, say email address is not mandatory as such. It's not mandatory. I can still process a loan application without an email address, even if I have the basic information. This is not mandatory, hypothetically. And we have got some application forms. So application 1, 2, 3, like let's say, what some applications to process. So say 5 applications. Now, if I am one of those companies and I start auditing these applications based on these criteria, like which all applications are ready to be processed. So say I audited the first application and similarly audited other applications. They're like how many? 1, 2, 3, 6 fields in every application. So I audited all these applications, and while auditing, I found the third application has a phone number missing in it. This one is missing in it. And similarly, we have this application which has 2 things missing in it. Now, technically, if I go by the opportunity count, like when we say opportunity count, this option is taken by the companies who are lenient towards defect. So so defects, if we count, how many defects did we had? 3 defects. Yes.
Yeah.
How many opportunities did we had to find a defect overall? How many total opportunities we had to find a defect?
Total opportunities 3.
No, overall in this audit. Overall in this audit,
6 multiplied by 1 to 30.
30. Yes, you're right about that. So here I had 3 defects out of total 30 possible. So I will say this is my defect per opportunity. Defect per opportunity is 3 out of 30, which is, this is my defect per opportunity, which is about 0.1. Now, bottom line, this version of testing will be done by the companies where it's okay to have, which companies use this method of opportunities? Well, where it's okay to have some defects. So they will give themselves extra leverage of opportunities, which is all of this. Now, when companies are very brand conscious and they will just not accept any error, well, in their case, they will say, well, I'm not counting defects. I'm counting how many defective applications do we have. We have 2 defective applications which cannot be processed. Total defective possible. We have only 5 defective possible. So here we look at one error and we say it's a defective. Whether it is a mandatory field, it's a non-mandatory field, I will still count that as defective. So this is where we are very stringent in terms of defect rate. Like, so one error, we call it as defective. I'll say like 40% defect. This is, since I had increased my opportunity, I'm just trying to control the number of defects, but it's okay to have some defects.
Why do we say we have, why do we say we have defective, two defective? Because I think we have 3, right?
No, so two defective applications.
Two
These
defective applications,
yeah.
exactly.
So this is the part. So
Yeah.
this is the part which cannot be used. So the basic concept. So generally, if I talk about like in general, which companies generally use this kind of logic. So like say we have iPhone as a phone manufacturer. They have a simple logic. They work on PPM model. PPM model is when they say we will not accept any defect in our process. If they realize there is some problem in the phone and the phone is still functional, customer will not be able to find that there is a problem in the phone, but still they will not sell the phone in the market. It's a matter of brand value. I will not sell that phone in the market. So for me, the moment I know there is any possible defect, I will call that as a defective phone. Whether it has one error or 100 errors, for me, it's a defective phone. It just cannot be sold. But if there's a like other companies, and I'm not talking about like some budget size phone companies, uh, they have this concept, like say if the phone is functional, I will still be able to sell the phone in the market. So they have a mindset of controlling it. It doesn't mean that they're not quality centric. They do not want to control the defect. Since they're working with the budget phone like market, they say it's okay to have some defects till the time the phone is functional. So it's not hampering. Probably my phone is heating up too much, but is it working? Yes. For them, probably the business, the kind of clients they handle, it's okay to have some defects till the time the phone is functional. So those companies, technically the Chinese phone companies that we have now, like they work on defective phones, defects version, but technically when we talk about iPhone, they work with defective logic. So it's more about the mindset of the company, and we'll have to deal with this defect and defective logic, because when we talk about making statistical process control chart, the control charts we'll be working on will be dependent on defects versus defective. So we'll be again dealing with it. Like let's say one of my clients, we were actually working with a publication house in Europe, and they are one of the biggest publication house there. So these guys had like we completed a black belt project, and these right in the end of the black belt project, in the control phase, the last phase, they wanted us to suggest which control chart should they publish, defect based control chart or defective based control chart. And honestly, I could not have taken the answer. I could have given the answer on their behalf, because it's completely dependent on the management's philosophy. What are they trying to solve there? Like how critical are they about the defect? Is there a scope for defect, or there's no scope? There's zero tolerance. It is going to be decided by the management, but still we had to help them take a decision. So I asked them a simple question, like you print a book, and a book is a bestseller, very much in demand. You have shortage of books, and you've got like 1,000 copies printed right now. And the cost of the book is like 100 euros. It's pretty expensive book. Now, somewhere in that book, which is 500-page book, somewhere in page number 125, your quality team comes and tells you that on that page, there's one line which is completely washed out. You just cannot read the line. Somewhere in all the books, page number 125 had this one line which is completely washed out, and there is some grammatical error in one of the word. It's the grammar is not correct, or some word is incorrectly spelled. Couple of small minor errors. Well, my question was simple: that would you still sell the book in the market? They said yes. It's a matter of one line. You're reading the book, you don't lose the context, you still understand what's going on. Then I said, it's okay to have some defects in your process, right? Then pretty much go ahead and work on defect based. It's okay to have some defect. You will decide. What if their answer would have been no? I will not sell that book. I'll get that page out of the book, get the 1,000 pages printed, get that inserted in the book, and that's when I'll sell it in the market. It's a matter of brand value. Well, today, when I'm selling this book, people will obviously not get to know. When they read the book and they get to that page number, well, what kind of brand image would they carry about my brand? It's like they will feel being cheated. They've spent like 100 euros to purchase this book, and this is the kind of quality we are bottom line. Well, then I would have said, like, go ahead with use defective. Defective means one error, you say it's junk for me. I will not use it. So here, when we talk about defective, we talk about the part, the whole part itself. Here we talk about every single error that's possible. So we give ourselves the maximum possible errors, and we look at how many errors did we make. Here we say we had 5 applications only. The maximum possible defective applications could have been 5 defective applications, and we had 2 defective applications out of it. So here we are more stringent. We don't count the number of errors. We say Is the application good or bad? Simple as that. We are not looking at all these features. One error, it's a defective one. One error is defective. So I do not give myself the bandwidth to give myself this much of opportunity. Opportunity for me is total 5. I could maximum get 5 defective applications only, and I get 2 out of them. So here we talk about the whole part itself. So it completely depends on which version, which kind of company we're working with. If it's a very, very brand conscious, customer centric company, they'll always be working with PPM model. But these companies are very rare. Most of the companies work with DPM model because they always have some scope of making, like some error is acceptable.
So the difference between both of them, one of them debates on that as an example, if my understanding is correct.
Right.
The DPMO is about the item, like as an example,
Yes.
the item itself, but the PPM is a piece in that item.
Absolutely, yes. You're right about that, 100%. Yes,
okay.
Absolutely, yes. So every single feature, and as we get into the Sigma level calculation, well, we will have questions around that. So the concept will get much clearer. Now, having said that, when we say my process is working at 6 Sigma level and it's making just 3.4 defects in a million, let's understand how good is the 6 Sigma level. Generally, if I say my quality percentage is 99%, well, it's pretty good quality percentage. 99% is not a bad one. But let's see how good or bad it is in comparison to 6 Sigma, 99% quality. When I say my process has 99% quality, I'm saying my pass percentage is and fail percentage. So pass percentage is 99 out of 100 and fail percentage is 1 out of 100. That's what it means. I have got 99% quality. I have like 1% error out of 100. So if I work with the same logic, if I make 1 error out of 100, how many errors will I make out of 1 million? If I make 1 error out of 100 at 99% quality, how many errors will I make? In the same proportion. If I make 1 error out of 100, then how many errors am I making? Will I be making?
That's going to be a lot.
Yeah, 10,000. Yes, it's going to be 10,000. So if I just cancel out the zeros, I'll get 1 out of 100. So technically, if I just cancel these 4 zeros, I'll cancel the 4 zeros, I get 1 out of 100. Same rate, 1 error out of 100. So similar on the same proportion. If I make 1 out of 100, then I'll be making 10,000 errors in 1 million. And that's what my 99% quality means. So if I cancel out zeros, 4 zeros here and 4 zeros here, I will get 1 out of 100. So it's the same rate.
Do some companies accept that?
Yeah, this is not acceptable now. It was good at one point in time. You're right about it. Well, gone are those days when companies used to be market leader at 99. It's bad, really bad. And that's why globally, we are switching to 6 Sigma. Most of the corporates are switching to 6 Sigma because of this difference. We are comparing 99% with 6 Sigma level. They're 2 poles apart, and it's a 2 different world altogether. We're comparing 6 Sigma like 3.4 versus 10,000. Well, it was once upon a time, it was okay to have 99% kind of quality, probably 2 decades ago, but things have changed a lot. Customers have become so intolerant about defect. You give them 1 defect, they will not, we all are options. Customer has so many choices. They can always choose a better one. So if your product or service has defects, sorry, it's not going to last for long. And there are a lot of examples where big brands which had complete monopoly in the market, well, they have gone. We talk about Motorola, we talk about Kodak, we talk about BlackBerry. There's so many examples. They had complete monopoly, but they could not sustain the market dynamics. This market is very, very like it's a cutthroat competition. It's very fast paced. The product dynamics are changing. If your product and service cannot meet the market demands, you will be outdated. And that's what happened to all these big brands. So it's very important for global leaders have realized that we just got to do anything and everything possible to reduce the defect, because customers, if they're paying, they need absolute quality. Bottom line, they will not give you chance for this one. If you have a process which is working at 99% quality, you will have many unhappy customers, and that's going to bring you like your process to like stand still. So it's very important. Globally, people have realized that yes, it's time for us to switch to Six Sigma. It's not a choice; it's a need of the hour that we have to switch to a zero defect kind of concept of Six Sigma, and that's what we are. We globally we see most of the stakeholders are opting for Six Sigma. I've been doing a lot of trainings for CEOs, CXOs off lately for last 4 or 5 years. Most of the CEOs and CXOs are getting trained technically just because that it's a top-down approach. It's a management tool. They believe in the Six Sigma, and then they start giving project. They start assessing their team on Six Sigma performances. So technically, we need to understand that we're really talking about an absolutely phenomenal level of improvement. But when we're talking about this, it's definitely important to understand when we say Six Sigma level, what do you mean by this Six Sigma? Or what do you mean by Sigma level? First of all, let's say, what do we mean by Sigma level? It's a weird definition, by the way. It's a defect measuring scale. It doesn't measure how good you're doing. It measures how bad you're doing. It measures your defect rate. So Sigma scale will measure your defects. Like we said, 3.4 defects per million opportunity. Globally, whenever we talk about Six Sigma, people will simply say 3.4 DPMO. Some will say 3.4 PPM. It measures the defect rate of a process. And that's what gives you a Sigma level. Sigma level is actually a defect measuring scale. So when you look at a Sigma level, we have a lot of Sigma levels: 0 Sigma, 1 Sigma, 2 Sigma, 3 Sigma, 4 Sigma, and 6 Sigma, then 7, 8. It's a scale. It's a scale to measure defect rate in the process, and it's never ending. It's a scale. It will go on and on. Do we have negative Sigma? Yes, we have negative Sigma also. -1, -2. It's a scale. It will run on both the sides, and this scale only measures defect. And every number on this scale tells you that your process has some defects in the process. And technically, when we're talking about Six Sigma, yes, we're talking about this level. If your process is making 3.4 defects in 1 million, that's when we say it's working at Six Sigma. Technically, every number on this scale represents 2 Sigma represents certain number of defects, 3 Sigma represents a certain number of defects. So technically, every number has a relevance about defect percentage, every number. Big question is that, can we get better than Six Sigma? And the answer is yes. The industry is working at a higher Sigma level, not just Six Sigma. Six Sigma is not the best Sigma level. When we talk about aviation, air traffic control, I'm not talking about baggage. Airport baggage control is horrible, but it's barely around 3.5 Sigma. But aviation is the air traffic control is about 12 Sigma. When we talk about nuclear reactors, space programs, when we talk about semiconductor industry, all around 12 Sigma level. When we talk about pharmaceutical industry, it's around 11 Sigma. Technically, these are critical industries, very, very critical. Well, you cannot work with Six Sigma level. It's bad for these industries, absolutely bad. One error is a big error. Well, just let's consider, like, if my aviation industry, airlines would have been working at Six Sigma, what it means that 1 million flights that will take off, 3.4 might crash. We will not be comfortable boarding a flight, because every single error is a huge cost, and technically so many people can die. It's we just cannot accept error. Pharmaceutical industry, why there's so much of hue and cry about COVID vaccine? Why can't you just make vaccine and give it to everyone? No, one wrong vaccine and so many people can die, and this is irreparable damage. Bottom line,
that's why they're using higher numbers to reduce the defects as much as possible.
Absolutely, yes. So this is what it represents. So higher the Sigma level, lesser the defect. So technically, whenever your defect rate goes low, so if your defect reduces, Sigma level goes up. Higher Sigma levels are definitely better. So at higher Sigma level, we have these industries. They are critical ones, but globally, because they are very selective ones. Standard is Six Sigma, because if you are able to get to a level of Six Sigma, technically you have become a market leader. There's no one close to you. This is absolutely phenomenal level for every other industry other than these selective industries, which are very, very critical because there's a life and death at stake. But barring that, for everyone else, getting to a level of Six Sigma will make you industry leader any given day. Now, big question is why, like, why don't we then study the 11 Sigma, 12 Sigma? Why are we learning Six Sigma? Technically, it's the same technique which is used, which will get you 4 Sigma, 5 Sigma. Techniques are same, but up to a level of Six Sigma, you can improve by project management, quality management, by statistics. You can improve a process up to a level of Six Sigma. Well, taking it beyond Six Sigma is very difficult manually. Hence, automation is required. Well, when you want to take your process beyond Six Sigma, you need to automate the process, either apply the artificial intelligence or robotic process automation. But yes, you have to do automation because human errors will still happen. You just cannot take away human error. So in 1 million, you're making just 3.4 errors. With basic process improvement methods, without automation, you can get to this level. But if you still are not happy, you want to take it beyond, then you have to go for automation. And it doesn't make sense because automation will take millions of dollars. And not every industry wants, like, why would I, like, just if I talk about this marker company, if this marker company gets to a level of Six Sigma, do you think this company would ever like to invest in an automation to reduce the defect? No. What's the cost of 3.4 markers? If I'm manufacturing 1 million marker, if my 3.4 roughly markers are defective, what's the cost of 3.4 markers? Nothing. But the cost of automation will be huge. So most of the industries will never want to go beyond Six Sigma because even if I get there, well, the cost of defect is not high, but the cost of automation is too high. So it doesn't make business sense. But for these industries, they don't have a choice. Every error is a big cost, and there will be a lot of like cost factor. Every error will be financially also very, very impactful. So barring that, if your industry is not critical, well, Six Sigma is what you will always want to be at. You would not go beyond it because it does not make business sense. On the contrary, if defect rate increases, Sigma level will drop. Sigma level will go down. Like when your process has 50% defect rate, and you don't have to memorize this, but in general, to understand Sigma, you will be having a 0 Sigma if your process has 50% defect. So in case, if defect rate is higher than 50%, Sigma level will be negative. We'll see that. While we go through this journey, we'll learn about different ways of calculating Sigma level, different ways. And as a black belt, we must understand every possible way because you don't know what kind of audience, what kind of bosses we might come across. And people will ask you questions in different ways. So as black belt, we should know all possible methods since it's just the beginning and we're just trying to understand the concept about Lean Six Sigma. I'm going to tell you one method right now without getting into explanation, but the formula will still remain the same. This is only one method. So we'll learn it manually. We'll learn it by the means of formula. We'll learn it on Minitab also, every possible way to find Sigma level. This is the easiest out of them. So we'll quickly talk about how to calculate Sigma level. And this is one method. For example, somebody gives me a defect rate and would ask me like, what is your Sigma level at so-and-so defect rate? There are two types of Sigma levels and we'll understand when to use what, but it will be early today. Long-term Sigma is one, and which is represented Z for Sigma, LT for long-term. And then there is a ZST, which is called short-term Sigma. This one is used for communication and reporting. So whenever people talk about Sigma level, they always talk about the short-term Sigma level. This is also known as current Sigma level. Everyone will always speak about current Sigma level. No one would ever do a communication with long-term Sigma. So this is the way of communicating. Long-term is the actual Sigma level, and we'll understand why we have two different Sigma levels. What is the meaning of actual Sigma level? Technically, we'll understand that. But let's quickly, let me write down the formula. And this is inbuilt in everyone's Excel. norm, sin B. We'll understand the meaning of these formulas as we move forward, but just a quick one. Defect divided by total, and this is the formula. And the short-term sigma level is calculated as long-term plus a fixed value of 1.5 sigma will give you the short-term sigma. Why 1.5? So we will be getting you the clarification. At no point in time I will tell you like, believe me. No, just don't believe me, because this calculation for everything, and you have to understand those calculations, and it's easy. The bottom line, there are two types of sigma level. One is used for communication. People will only talk about current sigma level. This is the actual calculated sigma level, which we convert into a current sigma by adding 1.5. Now, big question is, why are we adding 1.5? This is fixed constant value. We will have a complete explanation about it, but it'll be early today. Let's kind of take some random numbers. Say my process has 14% defect rate. What's my sigma level? I'll use the same formula, norm sin V, 1 minus. Now it says 14% defect. That means 14 out of 100. 14 is a defect, total is 100 out of 100. Close the bracket. That's my long-term sigma level, but will be communicated as plus 1.5. I will say if my process is working at 14% defect rate, my process sigma level is 2.58 sigma. It's working at 2.58 sigma. Let's take 6 sigma. Why we leave? That's also defect rate, 3.4 defects per million opportunity. Let's find it out, whether it's 6 sigma or not. Norm sin V, 1 minus 3.4 defects in 1 million opportunity. And I add 1.5 to it. People will always speak about current sigma level. 3.4 defects per million opportunity is 6 sigma level. We only use this for communication, the current sigma level. For example, I did some audit, and during my audit, I found 125 defects or errors out of, say, these many random audits I did. What's my sigma level? Well, simple. Norm sin V, 1 minus 125 out of 5656. That's it. It's the simplest way of calculating sigma level. So you will be able to, let's see one negative one. Say, for example, we have 65% defect rate. Let's just to validate the negative one. Norm sin V, 1 minus 65 out of 100. That's negative sigma, minus 0.38. Will be reported as this sigma level. So there are two versions of sigma level, and every version has a relevance. So we will understand the purpose of this sigma level. We'll also understand the purpose of so only the part which is there, which is clarification, because that has to be there. But to understand that, yes, we need to get into the statistics part of it, understand the basic foundation, which will give us the clarity about this formula. And then pretty much it will be clear. But formula is not going to change. So all in all, yes, it will be good to know this. And yes, it will help us convert any defect rate into a sigma level. If you have a defect rate, you can always convert that to sigma level of a process. And this is only one method. There's so many different ways how you calculate sigma level. We'll learn about all of them. Converting a defect into sigma, sigma back to defect. Can somebody gives you a quality percentage, converting that to sigma, everything is possible. And on tips of your finger, pretty much it's very easy. Yeah, there will be some formulas which are very simple formula. So we will be working out some questions. We'll get comfortable with this. But all in all, this is what we know about Six Sigma. So Six Sigma, if you look at it, it's all calculation. It's all number driven. On the contrary, Lean is very simple. Lean is all about go and watch out your process, see your process, and then apply your Lean knowledge and see, is it a waste? Is it a waste? Is it a waste? That's what you're going to be doing in Lean. Look at the process. It's very simple, and go and apply your Lean knowledge and remove the waste. We always use Lean first. And if whatever is not fixed with Lean is what we take up with Six Sigma. And then we go about solving that problem once and for all with Six Sigma, because we would like to remove all possible defects in that process using Six Sigma. That's where we will get into more details. But all in all, basic understanding of the process, we wanted to at least have a clarity, like what do you call as Lean and what do you call as Six Sigma? I hope it's okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, perfect. Now, Again, we'll not get into too much of detail about history because that's not what is required in real projects. But yes, from exam standpoint, again, from like interview standpoint, some people will still end up asking you the history part of it. Like, what do you mean? Where did it start? So not too much deep dive into it, but at least basic whereabouts we should know. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Prakash, now you say when people ask, do you mean in case like in a job interview or something like that,
Yes,
or
yes, yes, yes.
in general, you mean in general?
No, in the job interview, they could ask you a question like that, like where did lean started? Like some basic whereabouts, not too much of detail. So yes, we at least should know how this entire thing started, like
Exactly.
how it lay. So basic whereabouts we should know. So
Wonderful.
yeah. So from lean perspective, the evidence is available where lean got implemented for industrial purposes was with Ford Motors. These people were the one who first implemented lean, but the word lean did not come from them. Word lean came from Toyota. Toyota was the one who introduced the word lean, gave the word lean to the world. But much before Toyota, Ford did something which was lean, but the word lean was not present at that time. Let's quickly talk about this. Henry Ford was the one who was CEO of Ford Motors. And globally, these guys were the giants. Technically, they had monopoly in the car manufacturing. So in the automobile sector, these guys were struggling because demand was very high, but the supply was not there. Globally, everyone, even General Motor was struggling. Everyone was struggling with the production capacity. The old version of car manufacturing used to be called as crafts manufacturing. In crafts manufacturing, what used to happen, people used to move from one car to another and cars were stationary. So if I am fitting in a bulb in a car, I will move with all the bulbs from one car to another and I'll drag that material with me. Somebody who's fitting in tires is moving with all the tires from one car to another and I'm fitting in. So I'm dragging all the material with me. So it was a very slow process. So this was very slow process because people were moving and shifting material with them from one car to another. And yes, the maximum production capacity Ford had was 30 to 35 cars per month. That was the capacity they had. Well, these guys revolutionized the production methodology, and till date we use that globally, not just car manufacturing. Everyone in manufacturing uses assembly line, which we also call as conveyor belt concept. So these guys came up with this method. Here, people became stationary.
This is something around 60s.
Yes, absolutely. No, this is 1908. The 60s part is when the lean Ford Motors came, Toyota came into picture. So this is 1908 time frame. So people became stationary and parts started moving on a belt. This was around 1908. So these guys started this concept and that was very fast. They started the concept of mass production came into picture because the production capacity increased 3 to 4 times. That was unbelievable. And soon people realized it. And because globally, only way of manufacturing was craft manufacturing. These guys came up with this new method and that really proved a great benefit to the company. And yes, they started producing in huge volumes. And that logic was learned by everyone else in every other industry. And later on in 1960s is when Toyota came into picture, and these guys revolutionized everything. The word lean was introduced by Toyota, and these guys used something called Toyota Production System, generally referred as TPS. Now, TPS is nothing other than the collection of lean tools. How these guys used lean effectively to improve the processes. Now, just a quick background about Toyota, at least we should know that. When Japan was engaged in war for a pretty long time, in the First World War, Second World War, their economy was completely crippled. It was in a bad shape. And plus, after the bombarding, when it happened, it was like the country had a choice either to file bankruptcy or with the given resources, because technically they had shortage of capital, they had bad infrastructure, everything was in a bad shape. With whatever they had, they had to create best out of it. And that's what they chose, the difficult option, to use the existing resources and create the best out of waste. That was the basic logic. And yes, they crafted it. And specifically when we talk about Toyota, these guys were the leaders there. And that's what they came up with the concept of lean, that we understand that I can't beat Ford Motors. They have complete monopoly. They have like no problem of capital. They do have no problem of infrastructure. We have that problem. I understand we can't beat them any other way other than quality. We may produce less cars, but our cars should be better than Ford Motors. Our cars should be better than General Motors in terms of price, in terms of comfort, in terms of reliability, in terms of warranty claims. Everything should be better than these existing brands. People should love our car. So they crafted the car just thinking about the end customer. Customer should be happy, customer should be beneficial. And that's what the concept, that's the birth of lean started with the Toyota Motors. People loved Toyota cars, even till late. Toyota comes in, when it comes to reliability, there's nothing better than Toyota. Well, these guys, the problem they had for capital, infrastructure, everything was solved. Investors started pulling in a lot of money in Japanese company, not only Toyota, every other company in Japan had learned lean the right way. Technically, everything was flourishing. Japanese quality was talked about. Everyone was fascinated by Japanese quality. And this was hurting big brands. That started the birth of Six Sigma. The history of Six Sigma is linked with lean. If lean would not have happened, Six Sigma would not have come into picture. While this was troubling one more giant, Motorola. Motorola was headed by Bob Galvin. He was the CEO of Motorola. And these guys were into two products. One was Motorola Pager, one was Motorola Walkie-Talkie, which is used by police guard, security guards. And these guys started getting tough competition from newly started companies in Japan, which were manufacturing pager, which were manufacturing walkie-talkie, and they were better. So Motorola lost its market share significantly to these Japanese companies, and investors started pulling out money from Motorola. And that's when a project was given to two people. Technically, the primary one was Bill Smith. Bill Smith is known as father of Six Sigma, and Dr. Michael Harry. These people were in research and development. They were given the joint the responsibility. The chief architect was Bill Smith, and assistant to him was Dr. Michael Harry. These people were given a job to come up with something which can beat this so-called lean. And in 1986, they announced it to the world that we have come up with something called Six Sigma. No one knew that word before, Six Sigma. So they came up with this term called Six Sigma, and they said this Six Sigma can help you get a quality of 99.99966%, which means that your process will have 3.4 defects per million opportunity. Well, Japanese got shock of their life. Well, because with lean, you could maximum sort of get 99% kind of quality. But in that time period, 99% quality was unbelievable, because globally people were around 90, 91, 92% kind of thing. And that was still a big deal. Well, Japanese were striking 99% kind of quality with lean. But even Japanese got shock of their life. Is that also possible? Yes. Motorola regained everything they had lost, market share, investors, and thanks to Bob Galvin. He was a very noble soul, never wanted to keep it as secret information. This guy wanted industry to benefit. So they called a lot of companies to Motorola facilities. See how a Six Sigma project is done. This is how we benefited. You should also learn. So they taught a lot of companies and industries how to implement Six Sigma, and big names stepped in. ABB, Asian Brown Boveri. We had Allied Signal. We had Honeywell, big brands, much bigger than Motorola, but in a different sector. They picked up Six Sigma as company improvement, continuous improvement philosophy. And yes, they started reporting cost saving in billions of dollars, not revenue. People are not making revenue in billions of dollars. They were saving cost in billions of dollars because of Six Sigma. It was talk of the town. People wanted to learn Six Sigma globally. And then biggest game changer stepped in. In 1995, General Electric jumped into this so-called Six Sigma. This was headed by Jack Welch. Jack Welch was the CEO of General Electric. Well, these guys were huge, and they till date very, very massive company. They used Six Sigma for themselves. They used Six Sigma for their clients, and they became consultants of Six Sigma. That if you have a project, you have a problem, hire us, we'll solve the problem as consultant using Six Sigma. They made it popular. So whatever popularity Six Sigma got was not because of Motorola, but it came because of General Electric. So today, also when we talk about most successful people in Six Sigma world, the people technically who have got immense experience, they will all have some origin with General Electric. Because even till date, if somebody wants a job in General Electric, you must, in management role, you must be a Six Sigma certified professional. In General Electric, top to bottom, everyone understands Six Sigma. That's a way of life in General Electric. Well, we will learn Six Sigma in 5 different phases: define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. 5 different phases. What do we do in every phase? High level. Define phase is all about selecting right project. You may be facing 20 different challenges in your company. You cannot solve all the problem with one project. It's important to understand that not every problem is equally important. It's important to understand that we have limited resources, limited budget, limited time. And I need to use this time and budget wisely, selecting the right project, looking at return on investment. So selecting the right project is the most critical part to start with. When you decided the problem, you selected a project, you collect reliable data for analysis. Now, it's the essence of Lean Six Sigma. Technically, the Six Sigma is data. But because if your data is wrong, your analysis will be wrong. So it's very important to collect reliable data. And when the data is collected, you perform statistical tests to find root causes. Whatever reason you have, which you're not able to understand, you may be having a lot of ideas, but you exactly don't know which one is the real root cause. So you apply statistical tests to find what is actually causing the problem, the business problem that you have. When you know it, you solve the problem and achieve the target. So management would give you a target, test cost reduction, quality improvement, reducing the average waiting time, and all those things. Whatever target has been given, we achieve that, and then we sustain the improvement. The beauty about Lean Six Sigma project is that if you improve something, it will stay improved. It will never go back where it started from, thanks to the last phase, control phase. Control phase is where we put the process into extreme statistical control. So process will not lose it. A typical Six Sigma project works like this.
So it solved the project or solved the problem?
So my bad. So I'll just correct the typo. Yes, you're right about that. So this is a typical project life cycle, a traditional one. Will improve, and then we'll slowly see we start experiencing challenges, and then goes back to square one. Six Sigma works this way. You improve, you achieve the target, whatever we had to achieve, and then we sustain. Sustenance phase is the control phase. You sustain that level. Again, when you sustain this level, it's not going to go back. You pick up a new project, again, set up a higher target and sustain that level. Again, pick up a new project. So there are continuous projects, but it keeps on improving and sustaining. So the control phase is where you put your process into extreme statistical control. So your process is not going to roll back ever, thanks to control charts. And this is the solve the problem. So technically, when we talk about doing this work in every phase, what are the tools you require? The first phase, when we talk about define phase, it's all about project management. So if we go through PMP syllabus. Yeah.
Sorry, what do we call these 5 steps? These are Six Sigma steps or stages?
Yeah, phases.
Phases.
Yeah.
Can you just put it?
Yeah. So
on the top of the define.
Yeah. So
phases.
Five phases of Six Sigma.
Yeah, this is just to remember it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. So,
thank you so much.
Thank you. So 5 phases of Six Sigma when you implement them. So first phase is all about implementing the project management tools and techniques. So if we pick up a PMP syllabus, you'll see all the tools that you learn in PMP is a part of your define phase. So we will learn a lot of tools and which will be absolutely copy and replica of what you see in PMP syllabus. because Six Sigma is also a project and PMP tells you how to do a project. So all the tools that you use there is going to be applied here as well. So when you apply the project management, there's no statistics involved here. And that's why I said, let's not install Minitab, because initially we will not require Minitab here. Then measure phase, that's where you have to collect data and reliability testing has to be done. So you are going to use quality management tools plus statistics. Then it's all about quality management and statistics. Everything is all about. So when your data journey starts, it starts here and goes till the end. Project management is the first part. You have to learn all those tools and techniques in the define phase. When Motorola created Six Sigma, it had only 4 phases. Until General Electric picked it up, Motorola had only 4 phases. Six Sigma, Mac. They used to simply pick up a project and start collecting data and just work on a project. General Electric, when they picked it up, they said, definitely you guys have created an amazing method of improving the process, but you guys are not doing it the right way. You must select the right project. So General Electric was the one who included define phase into Mac and made it DMAIC. Earlier it was Mac, which was converted to DMAIC. Well, first of all, when we talk about these phases, that's a framework of Six Sigma, how you implement Six Sigma in 5 different stages or 5 different phases of Six Sigma. But is there any other way how Six Sigma can be implemented? The answer is yes. Well, we are going to talk about frameworks of Six Sigma. Now, technically, 99% of time, you will only be using this, DMAIC, 99% time. We'll understand when to use this and why 99% of the time. The other version is DFSS. DFSS stands for Design for Six Sigma. Now, let's figure out the difference between DMAIC and DFSS. Well, when do I implement DMAIC method of improving the Six Sigma project using like any problem using Six Sigma? If you have an existing process, you have existing data, historical data, you implement DMAIC with it. Well, if you have a process which needs improvement, technically, wherever we are working, we have process already, we have data already. Technically, you will implement DMAIC. If you have an existing process which needs an improvement, you'll always be working in DMAIC. And technically, we always have a process. So we always look for improving and making it better. Where does DFSS come into picture? It's not about improving. It's all about creating a new product, service, design, statistically, as per customer requirements. So this is about creating something new, not improving an existing one. When you want to improve an existing one, you work with the FSS, with this DMAIC version. But when you're creating something new from the scratch, as per customer requirement, you are working with DFSS method. Again, a method of implementing Six Sigma. This is bread and butter for people in research and development. So when people are in research and development, even the COVID vaccines, they were designed based on DFSS method. We will be learning this section also. So when we talk about DFSS, the statistical tool, honestly, very complex, a little confusing. The only part where I'll say there is confusion, and this is a little complicated, is when we implement DFSS, we end up using a statistical option, which is called design of experiments. In short, we call it as DOE. This is what is used by the Six Sigma professionals to carry out design of experiment, to design and develop a product or service in a research lab, and then come up with a product launch or anything that you want to do.
You mean from scratch?
Yes, absolutely. Like in the COVID vaccine, it happened like nobody knew when would we get the vaccine? Would it take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? No idea. And that's what these were designed and developed in a research lab. You carry out some experiment and you use the data, statistically validate them. We will be doing all this. We'll be working on DOE. Design of experiment is the last thing that we will be doing. Why? Because in order to perform this design of experiment, you must have knowledge of DMAIC, because whatever you learn here all gets compiled together in DOE. Everything gets compiled in DOE. So like summarization, so this is very advanced version of statistics. So, but to get there, yes, we have to have the foundation. This is the foundation. If I don't have a knowledge of DMAIC, I cannot improve. I can't work on DOE. So we'll first cover up this, and then we'll definitely be working on DOE. This is hardcore black belt stuff. When we deal with the black belt portion, we will be working with design of experiment. That's the later part of it. When we deal with DFSS, there are two different ways how you implement DFSS, two different ways. One is called DMAIC approach, like we have DMAIC approach. Similarly, we have two methods. One is IDOV approach. Now, both are DFSS. This is define, measure, analyze. This is still the same. Here you design and you verify. IDOV approach stands for identify, design, optimize, and verify. Let's quickly understand what is the difference between DMAIC and IDOV, because in both the ways, we are creating something new. We're not improving, we're creating something new. So DFSS has two different approaches. The basic difference between DMAIC version or IDOV version is here you create a new product, which is new for the company, but not new for the world. Here you create a new product, which is new for the company and for the world too. This is true invention. This is when we talk about true inventions. This is a little complicated and difficult. The COVID vaccines have come from IDOV. Well, let's understand the first part. This Elon Musk has Tesla and all that. He's been into SpaceX program and this Tesla. They have always been into these segments. We've heard of lately that they're coming up with a mobile phone. Well, is it going to be a new product for them? Definitely. They're going to launch a new product. They're going to launch and get into a new segment. They were into electric cars. They were into space programs, but they are going to get into this mobile phones manufacturing. It is definitely a new product for them. But is it new for us? No, we already have mobile phones. We're best of the phones in the market. Like we've got iPhone, we've got Samsung, and so many different phones we have. So we already have good players in the market. And this company probably wants to launch his or her new product. So it's definitely new for them, but not new for the world. So it's relatively easy, honestly, because you exactly know how your product should look like when it's launched in the market, because you have your competitors' products. They are technically not your competitors right now. You've not launched yourself. Yes, you want to launch yourself and you want to study your competitors so you can buy their products, you can use their services, and then understand what are the good things about it, what are the drawbacks of their product, dismantle the product. Your research and development team can learn how this product was designed and developed, what are the features. You can take a survey from the market, and then you can set the expectation with your team and say, well, I need better than this. These guys are giving 100 megapixel camera. I want 150. Bottom line, you have some reference to look at. You have something which you can touch, feel, see exactly how it needs to be done. So
to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. This is relatively easy. And thanks to design of experiment, you can conduct anything. Google uses design of experiment a lot. It is statistical designing. So here, system will tell you what changes you need to make in your process to get a desired output. Rather, you trying hit and trial. In design of experiment, solve the system, the statistics will tell you, make this change, make this change, make this change, and you'll get this result. Bottom line, it will guide you what needs to be done. That's the best part about design of experiment. Rather, you try hit and trial with the process. In IDOV, well, we are chasing an idea. Well, we wanted a COVID vaccine, but nobody knew how to get it done because it was never done before. We had vaccines, but we don't know how to work on a COVID vaccine. The genetic sequence was not available. Nothing was available. So we got into a process of creating some vaccine, and then people were taking clinical trials. They were testing it and they were validating. They were getting some result. They were running through design of experiment and then extrapolating the information from it. And that's what guided the development of COVID vaccine. It's where the invention part comes. You have an idea, you're chasing an idea. Exactly, you don't know how long it will take you to get there, how it would look like, what would be the features, because no one has seen it. No one knows the feature. Bottom line, this is the real invention part. So when we talk about invention, statistical designing, yes, you have a thought process. You want to create something which is in your ideas, but you don't have it in the real world. But both of it, be it a DMADV or IDOV, will take a single route, which is design of experiment. That's the common solution. So we will be working this out as we go through the last phase of our training. We will be working on design of experiment, because everything that we learn in the statistics part will get merged. Everything will get merged here. This is standalone piece. Having said that, if I know design of experiment, it's an advanced statistical test and tool that I use. It's a standalone tool. I can use design of experiment straight away and I can get my problem solved. If I know this, can I use it for my regular project? The plain simple answer is yes. Well, this is generally used by green belts. People who are green belts, they'll only have a choice of working with DMAIC. As a black belt, I have an option of working with DMAIC. I can work with DFSS because I have knowledge of design of experiment. If I have idea and knowledge of using design of experiment, it's an advanced tool. If I need it, I can use it here. Absolutely. Green belts don't have that knowledge, so they can't use it. You have an added knowledge. You can always use this tool. And yes, people who are black belts, they always use design of experiment in regular projects also. Regular projects, we use it because it will give you immense control over the output. Whatever changes you have to make in the process, system will guide you. Do this A, B, C, D, and you get this XYZ result. Exactly. So when we get there, we'll see how system is guiding us. It's absolutely incredible thing that has happened, at least from statistics standpoint. But all in all, whichever method we may talk about, how Six Sigma works, be it a DMAIC version, be it a DFSS version, simple logic, like if I talk about current world scenario, we have a real world problems and we apply a logic understanding and we try to find a solution. We apply a real world solution. In most cases, yes, this real world solution work for us. And it's not that we're not Six Sigma professionals. We are not successful. We all are successful professionals. But in certain cases, when we apply certain solutions, they don't work because they have not been tried. Well, we are based on our experience. We feel it's right and we implement it. In Six Sigma world, it doesn't happen that way. We have a real world problem, yes, or we convert this real world problem into a statistical problem. The statistical problem is then analyzed, and then we end up creating a statistical solution. A prototype is created, and when you know it's working, you don't do it in trial and error world. Real world, you simply implement what's working. Like COVID vaccines were launched when you know exactly they were working. Bottom line, you always have a statistical, you have a tried, tested, and proven result. And then you go about roll out of that stuff. So when I talk about real world problem, this is when we talk about define phase. Statistical problem is when you collect data, measure phase, understand the problem, get to the bottom of the problem, measure phase, use your statistical tools and techniques to understand what is causing the problem. When you get to know what is causing the problem, the statistical solution is the improve phase, where you implement strategies, you implement your various, again, statistical tools, which will include design of experiment. So if you have to use design of experiment, you'll always use an improve phase. And yes, you design and develop a solution, and we know it's working on a prototype and a pilot mode. Well, you go with a real world solution, implement in real world, and get this taken care of. So all in all, whatever you approach we may be using, we will be using in between this data-driven statistical solutioning. So we will be working this out as we go through subsequent phases. So this is pretty much what we deal with in case of yeah, we should basically understand the journey, how this entire thing started, be it a lean or how it led to Six Sigma. And finally, when we talk about Six Sigma, because when we talk about Six Sigma, people will generally like to understand what are the different methods of implementing Six Sigma. So all in all, we have two different methods. One, we talk about DMAIC method, then we have a DFSS method. Difference between DMAIC and DFSS, DMAIC is always going to be applied for an existing process for which you have old data, you can analyze data, you know, then you can figure out what's causing the problem. When you do not have data, it's new thing which has to be created. Then you have to design and develop a solution and then create data, and then that data will be analyzed. So in design of experiment, you create data. When you, like, just want to quickly show you, like, just a high level, like say I want to design a car which will give me better mileage, and how it gets created. So I want to create a better mileage. So I would like to try and test my experiments in a research and development lab with some fuel type. I would like to use a normal fuel and a premium fuel, probably a high octane fuel. I might want to try with a speed of a car at say 80 kilometers per hour and 100 kilometers per hour. I would try to work with tire pressure. Example, this for 30 psi or 35 psi. So bottom line, these settings are there where I can look at the lows and highs settings, where I'm saying, as per expert, these are the best possible range where I should be trying this combination. Now, what it does that when you run this design, this is the design part. It tells us to conduct a real world experiment in research and development lab with these combination, and then try and see what's your mileage. So if you want to improve the mileage, you conduct a real world experiment with these combination and then track the mileage. Conduct the real world experiment, then track the mileage. So system will design this for you and will help you understand, and like, so that this is what your team will work on and will conduct these experiments at different combinations, and then we'll have a mileage. And that when you have mileage, you say, when you put in plugin, say I'm hypothetically plugging in some values, say some random values. When you have your team has gone and conducted these experiments, you have some output. Now what you do is simply go ahead and try out whether this, so system will tell you to analyze this data. We analyze this data. We'll get into all those details as we move forward. Let me kind of just click OK. It will analyze this data, figure out, and will tell you what needs to be done. There will be some Pareto chart. We'll understand the interpretation of this, but system will tell you what to do when you, it will give you this option. When you analyzed it, it will give you an option of optimizing the response to get the best possible result. What should I be doing? System will tell you what combination should you be running. It will give you probably a different combination. It could give you a speed of say 62 and tire pressure of 31, something which you have not even tested and tried. It will give you, use this combination, and this will give you the best mileage. So what we know currently, we are using this best combination, but system will analyze this data and give you the right settings which you should be trying, which will give you the best mileage. So system could come up with those variations. So statistically, the results will be validated when we get in there. But all in all, the DOE part is definitely very, very exciting. It could be a little complicated, but honestly, it's just a small portion where we need to really go slow. But when we go slow, we understand it. It's a piece of cake, and it's very, you get a hang of it. Trust, you will end up you'll always try to find a reason. Somehow I can use DOE in my regular projects, because if I have this done, pretty much I will control the project in and out if I have my DOE worked out. So you will understand the needs, what are the minimum requirements of working on DOE. But all in all, this is what we do. I hope it is okay and clear. Any questions that you may have, because given that we will not move forward with another topic, but just wanted to make sure that at least the basic whereabouts are taken care of. Any questions that we have discussed, anything that we out of today's topics?
Actually, all clear. I'm just looking forward to see where we get into complicated materials.
No, it's still, let's see, even I say complicated, the last portion, which is DOE, has a small portion, which are like 10-15 minutes portion, where we need to just go slow. But otherwise, it's very simple. Trust, very simple. It's very easy. And it's just that, yes, if I say, like, even thanks, we have Excel. Even Excel will do a lot of work for us. Probably about 15 years ago, when we did not have this functionalities in Excel, we did not have Minitab and all that software, then it was a tricky one. Believe me, it was tricky, because people with hardcore mathematical background were the only one getting into Six Sigma. Today, anyone who has a mindset of a manager, mindset of somebody who's in a management role, can learn Six Sigma, because we already know it. Yeah, not everyone might be coming from a good statistical background, but it's not required. It's not required because we will have luxury of having a Minitab, we'll have a luxury of having an Excel. Even Excel will do a lot of analysis for us. There is inbuilt Excel like functions. Like I do have this option, we will get this, we will work it out. So in your Excel, probably it may not be there. We will get it activated. It's a free plugin within Excel, but it's hidden. So we'll see there's a lot of statistical tests inbuilt in Excel. Well, generally for a general audience, we will not know them. These are all statistics related analysis, and these are all that we do in Minitab. There are some, but yes, this is not all of them because they will only suffice till a green belt kind of analysis, but that's still a lot of analysis in there. So we will kind of explore different things which are there in Excel, and it will work out. So it's not difficult. Yes, it is just different. We'll get a hang of it. It's not a big deal. People have been passing. Honestly, trust, we've been doing a lot of trainings for various university students and all. They have been able to do it. Like people like you who are in a management role, you've been dealing with it. These things would be a piece of cake. Trust, it's just telling you because it's generally the experience of what when we're going through all the batches going day after day, and pretty much we've seen it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, and the exam is very simple. Exam is not a big deal. What we want is for you to complete this, write the exam, and then do pass. Work on a simulation project also. Work on a simulation project. So because when you complete the training, you pass the exam, you get the certificate, which is Six Sigma Green Belt certified, Six Sigma Black Belt certified. After you complete a simulation project for which I will be able to share data, you can work on it and we can work together to kind of help you work on the project. And by the time you would have completed the training part, you would know how to work on it. When you are able to complete, you get an extra certificate, a different certificate, which tells you that you've completed a complete project, like a simulation project, under the guidance of a master black belt. So you have an experience of doing a project. So that will differentiate you from a fresher to an experienced one. That is more of a demonstration has been done and you have proven it. So that will be a documentary evidence available. So that's
very good.
We'll recommend. So we've been getting those projects like quickly, live won't take long. This is the project that we just received.
But I have a question. If in case I'm working in a bank and my organization does not have Minitab, I still can use my experience in Excel to get things done, or Minitab is mandatory?
No. So we will still be able to work out these things on Excel. But in high-end like black belt stuff, you will require like Minitab access. But all in all, see, I can guide you. Like, so if you're using your personal PC, you're not using your official laptop, pretty much there are ways we can still get it. But we'll talk about that. Like, so for 30 days, you will not have a problem. But in the meantime, I can touch base on WhatsApp with you and guide you. Like, so you'll never have a challenge there.
Yeah, but okay. I mean, so after the, let's say, if I wanted to use what I learned in the Six Sigma, I can use it in Excel, right?
Yeah.
If Minitab is not an option, I still don't have a problem.
Yeah. So bottom line, you will see this is more of a tool we have. So Excel, we'll be working this along with Minitab. See, like I have been doing a lot of these trainings globally for corporate. See, this is Minitab training. So they get the training done on Minitab for people who are green belt and black belt. They've done their certification, they're certified, but they've never touched Minitab. And these are training modules for Minitab. People end up trying this Minitab stuff. So while we're learning it, well, why not learn it the right way? So while it barely takes 2 clicks. So let's keep learning as we move forward. So while we learn it, we learn both Excel and Minitab. So we'll never have a challenge. Yeah.
Good.
So I guess that will be also give me a moment. Like, so I'll have the areas shaded. So by tomorrow morning, is it okay? I can upload the file and yeah, we'll have these links shared with you over the email. And I guess we're going to connect tomorrow as well, right?
Yeah. Sunday, Monday, and Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes, absolutely. Yeah. So that's all I guess for today. And yeah, thanks a lot for your valuable time. Let's then connect.
Thank you very much.
And take it up. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.